So it was interesting to me that I was also looking up other words on Urban Dictionary, just because this has become my life now for the past couple weeks.
It's a legitimate hobby.
Yeah, no, I was actually looking up irony,
Uh-huh.
because a friend of mine, this is not scripted at all, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
But a friend of mine was adamant on his definition of irony, which was incorrect. It was coincidence, which is how it's often misused as.
Mm-hmm.
But I was curious because I looked up irony to show him what the definition was in like the Webster Dictionary, whatever, online, and then I was like, I wonder what Urban Dictionary would say about it. And you don't have to pull this up. I'm not really going to quote it, but it was very impressive. It was extraordinarily impressive.
Whoa, this is actually...
I have a legit definition of irony, which goes through the different types of irony: sarcastic irony, dramatic irony, Socratic irony, situational irony, irony of fate, and it has all of them. And I'm pretty sure most of them...
Look at the length of this definition. It goes on and on. This definition is far more thorough than anything you will find on Webster.
It was compelling to me, though, because in contrasting the word I was about to explain, naive, Cambridge handles the word and obviously defines it in its correct use. It gives historical context, I think, a little bit. And then you look it up on Urban Dictionary and it's kind of vague, not the right definition at all. A very opinionated definition, judgmental definition.
In fact, one of the definitions is being very childish and an asshole.
Yeah, so you're not getting well thought out or accurate definitions.
Also the other definition is Americans are naive. So and that's it. That's the definition of naive.
Yeah, so I was looking up that, and it's very obviously different from the definition of ebonics and naive, but yeah, just want to put that out there.
And I feel like one of the reasons why the definition of irony might be so long and thorough on Urban Dictionary is that irony is a little bit of a hot topic right now.
It's well known for being misused.
Exactly.
So. For this word, I'm taking it from the Cambridge Usage Guide first. This is the definition that they give. Negress, or negress with a capital N. Race and gender are stamped too heavily on this word to make it acceptable in print nowadays, except when rendering the utterance of racist/sexist characters. In any case, the ESS suffix is falling into abeyance, so that the word seems dated. And this is kind of true. We take it as, or I took it as, not a word at first. I didn't even know what it was really referring to, though it becomes obvious when you understand that Negro is right underneath it. The Urban Dictionary actually has a definition of negress as well, though it doesn't capitalize it at all, I don't think.
The Urban Dictionary definition of negress is the female equivalent to a Negro, in parentheses, not offensive.
Not offensive. And that's the key part, because in Cambridge, they make an effort to say that it's fallen out of use. It's not acceptable to use anymore, and even goes as far as to say that the capitalization form of it is still considered insulting.
Right, and the research that the people who have worked on the Cambridge Guide have done would probably back them up on that. However, considering that the term is probably still used in certain circles, Urban Dictionary provides this platform for providing these alternative definitions, which may or may not be extremely racist.
And even the second definition says it's not offensive.
Yes, a female black, not offensive. They did spell offensive wrong. This is an entry with historical context that just goes on and on and on and only reaches the usage suggestions in the very last part.
Yeah, literally the last sentence. This entry is morphine, morphia, laudanum, heroin, and opium. The soothing effects of opium poppy have been known for thousands of years. It was prescribed by Greek and Roman physicians and remained an effective pain reliever for more than 2 millenniums. I'm not going to read all of this, but it also goes into laudanum, morphine, because all of this comes from the poppy. It's really cool to read through it all, but it's only at the end. The name heroin is nevertheless reserved for non-medical uses of the drug.
And that's it. That's the only usage note. So all of that historical build-up, all this... I mean, there is a fair amount of differentiation of terms, I suppose, but this is an entry that's mostly historical context.
It is, which I kind of enjoy. At first I didn't even know that they were even related.
To me, this sort of approach to a usage guide forms a very striking contrast with what we saw of our friend Brian Garner. I mean, he's very upfront about the fact that these are his own opinions, his own educated opinions. But with the Cambridge Usage Guide, they're very careful to cite a lot of impartial research that they have done. And I think that an entry like this really reflects that.
But, Urban Dictionary is slightly different, and it amuses me because the entry for opium does cite other drugs that come from opium, which is good to know, but it also describes how you make it. It's so funny because you know the people using this won't necessarily know the historical context of it. They won't care. I mean, they won't care.
Don't care.
Yeah, and then it goes in to describe opium is a black sticky tar, the latex or sap that can be harvested from certain species of poppy plants. By making a few slight scrapes around the mature seed pod, the white latex will begin to drain.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so funny.
It's more specific than what you would expect,
Mhm.
but it is by users for users. So if that's what you're interested in learning, then that is what you get. I mean, it's vague enough that it's not illegal.
Yes, this is true. This is very, very true.
Urban Dictionary, vague enough that it's not illegal. One thing that is particularly interesting to me about the Cambridge Guide is that even though it is marketed towards people who are aware that the English language is rapidly changing and that they need to be aware of both global and local audiences, it still retains this piece of very, very classic usage guide rhetoric where it talks quite a bit about time-honored traditions. These time-honored traditions played an important role in what they decided to include. The Cambridge Guide to English Usage is written for English users in the 21st century. It takes a fresh look at thousands of questions of style and usage, embracing issues that are time-honored yet still current, as well as those newly arising as the language continues to evolve. Even there is still some sort of lip service to tradition and how there are issues that recur time and time again in the English language, certain questions that just keep arising. It uses knowledge of the past as guidance for the future. Whereas Urban Dictionary's response to a rapidly evolving language is to focus on all of the changes themselves with no reference to any kind of past, no reference to any kind of tradition. In fact, it is explicitly anti-tradition. We have covered this several times. So, in other words, the way that it prepares you for the future is by giving you real-time updates of all the little changes that are occurring. Basically, reference to the past is not important at all for the Urban Dictionary to function as a forward-looking document.
So in conclusion,
What the hell is text sex?
Now you have to click on it.
Yeah, I do. Okay, well that's just stupid. How you should use jokes.
Shut up!
No, I wasn't.
I do what I want.
Okay.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
You have individual agency.